What could possibly drive a young woman to brutally murder her own family in broad daylight? This unsettling question marks the beginning of our journey into the infamous Borden family case, a story steeped in mystery and morbid fascination. In the heart of the 19th century, the Borden family, led by wealthy businessman Andrew Borden, his wife Abby, and their two daughters Lizzie and Emma, lived what seemed to be an ordinary life. Yet, beneath the surface, something was festering. The stage was set for a crime that would shock a nation, a crime so gruesome, so chilling, it's hard to believe it was committed by a member of their own family. A crime that would become a haunting tale of betrayal and cold-blooded murder. In the quiet town of Fall River, Massachusetts, this chilling crime would forever change the course of their history. August 4th, 1892, started as an ordinary day in the Borden household. The family woke up to another hot summer morning in Fall River, Massachusetts. But the routine of the day would soon be shattered by an event that would shock the nation. Lizzie Borden, the younger of two daughters, started her day with peculiar behavior. She was seen by a neighbor burning a dress in the backyard stove. When asked about it, Lizzie nonchalantly explained that she was merely getting rid of an old dress stained with paint. This seemingly innocent act would later raise eyebrows. Meanwhile, the Borden family was not in the best of health. They had been suffering from a mysterious illness, which they believed to be food poisoning from the mutton stew left out in the heat. But little did they know, this was just the beginning of their troubles. As the day progressed, the housemaid, Bridget Sullivan, was asked by Lizzie to go out and wash the windows. Bridget, still feeling unwell from the illness, reluctantly obliged, leaving Lizzie alone in the house. It was during this time that the unthinkable happened. Upon Bridget's return, a chilling scene awaited her. The bodies of Andrew and Abby Borden, Lizzie's father and stepmother, were discovered brutally murdered in their home. Andrew was found on the sitting room couch, his face nearly unrecognizable from the blows. Upstairs, Abby was found in the guest room, her death as gruesome as her husband's. The crime scene was a horrifying sight, with blood smeared on the walls and the floor. The sheer brutality of the murders sent shockwaves through the quiet town. The Bordens, a respected and well-known family, had met a gruesome end in their own home. As the news of the murders spread, the town was gripped with fear and confusion. Who could have committed such a heinous crime and why? The peaceful facade of the Borden household had been shattered, revealing a sinister underbelly. By afternoon, the Borden household was steeped in blood and mystery. As the news of the shocking murders spread, the police swung into action. The Borden case was a puzzle from the start. The police arrived at the Borden home, a crime scene that was unlike any they had ever encountered. The victims, Andrew and Abby Borden, had been brutally murdered in broad daylight, yet there seemed to be no physical evidence pointing to the perpetrator. The crime scene yielded no bloody footprints, no murder weapon, not a single strand of hair that didn't belong. It was as if the killer had vanished into thin air, leaving only the victims behind. The police were stumped. The lack of physical evidence was highly unusual for such a violent crime, especially one committed in the heart of a quiet residential neighborhood. But the lack of physical evidence was not the only oddity about the Borden case. The police soon discovered another anomaly: the behavior of Lizzie Borden, the daughter of the victims. Lizzie's reactions to the murders were perplexing. Her alibis were inconsistent, her demeanor fluctuated between calm and hysterical, and her accounts of the events on the day of the murders were fraught with contradictions. As the police delved deeper into their investigation, they found that the picture-perfect facade of the Borden family was marred by tensions and disagreements. Money disputes, family arguments, and a strained relationship between Lizzie and her stepmother. All these factors caused the police to cast a suspicious eye on Lizzie. The fact that there were no signs of forced entry into the Borden home only added to the suspicions against Lizzie. The police reasoned that the killer must have been someone familiar with the house, someone who had easy access and had a reason to kill. In the end, the police found themselves faced with a chilling possibility. Could Lizzie Borden, the seemingly innocent daughter, be responsible for the brutal murders of her own family? With no signs of forced entry and Lizzie's inconsistent alibis, the finger of suspicion pointed directly at her. Lizzie Borden found herself in the center of what was to become one of America's most infamous trials. The trial began on June 5, 1893, in New Bedford, Massachusetts. The courtroom was filled to the brim. The public's fascination with the case was palpable, as the tale of a woman accused of such gruesome acts was a rarity in those times. The prosecution presented a case built on circumstantial evidence, as no hard evidence directly linked Lizzie to the crimes. The infamous hatchet was never definitively identified as the murder weapon, and no bloody clothes were found. The prosecution argued that Lizzie had a motive, though, highlighting tensions over her father's will. One of the most unforgettable moments of the trial was Lizzie's testimony. Her calm, composed demeanor in the face of such horrifying accusations struck many as peculiar. Some saw it as a sign of her innocence, while others interpreted it as a chilling display of guilt. The defense, on the other hand, adamantly maintained Lizzie's innocence. They pointed out the lack of physical evidence and highlighted the inconsistencies in the maid Bridget Sullivan's testimony. The defense also questioned the thoroughness of the police investigation, suggesting the real perpetrator was still at large. As the trial continued, the nation watched, captivated. The case was a sensation, splashed across newspapers from coast to coast. The public was divided, with some believing in Lizzie's guilt, while others championed her innocence. The all-male jury was tasked with the monumental decision. The trial lasted 15 days, culminating in a verdict that shocked many. Despite the circumstantial evidence, the jury found Lizzie Borden not guilty. The verdict was met with a mixture of relief and outrage, sparking debates that continue to this day. The trial of Lizzie Borden remains one of the most notorious in American history, a chilling tale of family, wealth, and suspicion. Despite the circumstantial evidence, the jury found Lizzie Borden not guilty. Acquitted but not free, Lizzie Borden lived the rest of her life under a cloud of suspicion. The trial may have ended, but the personal judgment for Lizzie had only just begun. Despite her legal innocence, many in her hometown of Fall River, Massachusetts and beyond maintained their belief in her guilt. Shunned by society and estranged from her closest friends, she became a recluse, living in the same town that had branded her a murderer. Lizzie and her sister Emma moved to a large modern house in one of the city's most affluent neighborhoods. A stark contrast to the humble abode where the gruesome murders occurred. Despite their wealth, they lived in solitude, their lives marked by the constant whisperings and pointed fingers of their neighbors. As the decades rolled on, Lizzie's story became a piece of American folklore, a chilling tale of family, wealth, and alleged murder. The infamous rhyme, "Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41," became a chilling playground chant, forever cementing her place in the annals of true crime history. The house where the murders took place has been preserved as a museum and bed and breakfast, a ghoulish attraction for true crime enthusiasts and the morbidly curious. Each year, hundreds of visitors walk through its rooms, attempting to piece together the puzzle of what happened on that fateful August morning in 1892. Books, films, and television series have been dedicated to the Borden case, each trying to unravel the enigma that is Lizzie Borden. Some portray her as the innocent victim of circumstance, others as the cold-blooded killer. The fascination with Lizzie and her alleged crimes has not waned but only intensified over the years. Whether Lizzie Borden truly was a cold-blooded killer remains an enigma, a chilling piece of true crime history that continues to fascinate and horrify. Lizzie's tale is a stark reminder of the enduring power of mystery and the human fascination with the macabre. It's a story that, over a century later, still leaves us questioning, pondering, and shivering in the dark. So, did Lizzie Borden take an axe and end her father and stepmother's lives? As we draw the curtain on the tragic tale of the Borden family, we are left with more questions than answers. This case, steeped in ambiguity and shrouded in mystery, continues to captivate and confound the world. Despite the circumstantial evidence pointing towards Lizzie, the lack of concrete proof leaves room for speculation. Was it a crime of passion, an act of self-defense, or perhaps the work of an unknown assailant? The trial, marked by sensationalism and public frenzy, failed to provide a clear verdict. Even the aftermath, with Lizzie living a life of relative seclusion, does little to shed light on the truth. In essence, the Borden family case is a chilling reminder of the human capacity for violence and the elusive nature of truth. It echoes the haunting question, what really happened that fateful day? The Borden family case, a chilling reminder that sometimes the most disturbing mysteries lie within the walls of our own homes.